Surprise, dear listeners. I know what you must be thinking. Wait a minute, it's not Monday yet, is it? No, it is not. This is the start of something a little bit different. It is unfortunately time to drag Jonathan Harker back into the time loop and read Dracula Daily again. And I've decided, after years and years and years of trying to actually stick with it, that the best way to make me stick with it would be to gather up a bunch of my friends every Friday, since it did start on a Friday this year, and just talk about the Dracula dailies we have encountered this week. And so with that all in mind, Jonathan Harker's journal, kept in shorthand, 3rd May Bistritz. Left Munich at 8:35 p.m. on 1st May, arriving at Vienna early next morning. Should have arrived at 6:46, but the train was an hour late. Budapest seems a wonderful place from the glimpse which I got of it from the train and the little I could walk through the streets. It's time for Dracula Weekly. It's time for Dracula Weekly. Good evening, and welcome to the first episode of Dracula Daily. I am your host, Jasmine Garcia. Joining me today are...
I'm Callie, and I am an expert on the wrong kind of vampire for this segment.
I'm Shamila, and Dracula has just thrown my mirror out the window. What the hell?
Dude, that's like 7 years bad luck.
He's got an eternity, it's fine.
We don't!
Well, he broke it. He who breaks it gets the bad luck.
Well, considering what happened to him at the end...
Hey, that's true.
Spoilers! Some of us haven't read it.
Basically, it occurred to me that it's Dracula Daily season again, so I thought it'd be a lot of fun for us to kind of just go through it, and every week there'll be a rotating group of guests to kind of just talk about the happenings to, frankly, the poor polycule that got ruined by Dracula.
Dracula ruins everything.
And the funny thing is, dear listeners, is that this very same group did discuss Dracula last year, but that was back during the strike. Now we can get a little bit more real here. So we'll do the usual thing. What is everyone's connection to Dracula?
So, Dracula was like one of the prerequisite readings for my gothic and horror fiction class in university. That was my first real exposure to it, and for a while I didn't really see any media related to Dracula, but through word of mouth I see stuff like Bram Stoker's Dracula, a cursed one.
I mean, I have complicated feelings about Bram Stoker's Dracula. That's for another episode, but I do have to say I am a little surprised that your first real exposure to it was college, because it feels like even just his visage is so ubiquitous, particularly the Bela Lugosi version.
Mm-hmm. But I live under a rock, so...
Fair enough. See, I just watched a lot of Scooby-Doo as a kid, and of course they used the Universal Monster look all the time on that show.
I grew up Southern Baptist, and we weren't allowed to watch such sacrilegious nonsense in this here household.
And yet you could read Twilight. Make it make sense.
I can't. I would love to make it make sense. I cannot. I was also allowed to read a series of unfortunate events with child marriage.
I mean, that's a lot less surprising.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it makes sense.
No, unfortunately it kind of does. That's the sad part. But anyway, ickiness of the religious rite aside, that honestly makes Dracula look tame in comparison. My dear listeners, you all already know who Dracula is, I feel like. We literally just had a movie come out that was technically supposed to be about his daughter, but it's so funny because they gave that away in the marketing, but really the only signs that it is in fact meant to be that in the movie is the use of that one bit from Swan Lake that they used in the 31 version, and also popped up in the invitation. So all these kind of weird stealth sequels to Dracula keep on bringing up that one piece of music, which, by the way, will be the theme music of this portion of the podcast.
I'm an expert on not this vampire.
No, but in fairness, your vampires probably wouldn't have existed without Dracula.
So thank you, Bram, for giving me the only thing that has brought me joy in the last 4 years besides this lovely gal over here.
Aww.
Aww. Yeah. But yeah, Bram Stoker's Dracula was the first like proper adaptation I ever engaged with. Right? It had to be before NBC's Dracula, which we'll probably have to talk about that someday.
I think NBC might have been my first. I'll go to the shame corner.
No, it's okay. It's okay. You know,
No, it's not your fault.
It's not your fault. I'm actually kind of curious what you thought. Like, if you want to talk about what you thought of that.
I only watched 2 episodes because everyone said it was bad.
Did you think it was bad, though?
I am easily influenced.
Oh, honey.
Jazz, you know that.
I know. I guess one day we will have to address it, and it'll be very interesting to see what you end up thinking of it when you're not being pressured to hate it, even though, you know, I think most of us do not like it very much, but...
It's unfortunately a degree for...
Oh, yay.
Yes. So, be wary of that.
I mean,
Sam's gonna love that.
Yeah, but... I mean, I stopped watching it before it was revealed that their version of Lucy was gay, and it's just like, you wasted sapphic Katie McGrath on this. God damn you.
Yeah.
God damn you.
I literally cannot remember the name of the actor, but I only watched it because the tutor guy was in it. That tells you how long it is.
Jonathan Rhys-Meyers.
I thought it might have been Jonathan something, but I'm not good at names. Jonathan Harker is peak neurodivergent energy, and I will not be convinced otherwise. So.
Okay, let's get into it
Sorry.
properly then. No, you're fine. You're fine. You ADHD'd it. It's fine.
Yeah, no, this is fun. You know, this is an excuse for me finally to actually complete the damn thing.
Right, because you've been on that list for a while, and you never really got a chance to complete it because life.
Because ADHD means I see it in the email, and then 20 other emails come in behind it.
Yeah, that's basically it. But anyway, so yeah, we've got Shami here who has read it before, and Callie and I've read bits and pieces, and I am pretty familiar with the general lore because, again, I'm going to be plugging the fictional podcast because they did a really good summary of that. It's a podcast where they basically take classic stories that might be a little inaccessible and make it more accessible. I highly recommend it. And I also recommend their 6 episodes on the Count of Monte Cristo.
Malcolm would be pleased.
Yes.
I keep trying to recommend it to you because of Malcolm.
I'm gonna get to it. Let me just get to my...
It was an episode based on Count of Monte Cristo. Please tell me you've seen that.
Of course they have.
I have seen every episode of Prodigal Son, ma'am.
But anyway, enough on that. Actually, you know what? Malcolm Bright and Jonathan Harker feel like they're...
Oh my god, they're the same character, different font.
Neurodivergent! Always gonna get into trouble!
I mean, like, exactly, because I feel like Malcolm would know that he was stuck with a vampire, but he'd relish it.
Malcolm would be like, I mean, it can't be worse than the surgeon.
Oh, gang. Oh, dear listeners, you think we're bad now. Wait until we actually cover that one episode.
I'm never gonna shut up and you're never gonna get rid of me.
I mean, I already knew that. But, yeah, people who mostly only know this because of just pop culture osmosis might not realize just how much of this book is literally just Jonathan Harker taking journaling during his vacation and being just delighted to be in a foreign country.
And collecting recipes to share with Mina. That was actually the basis for me collecting like garlic-based recipes for 101 recipes for saving off Dracula.
Yes, and we came up with this idea that maybe Jonathan and Mina could, like, the conceit that if we ever actually somehow make that happen, we could say that Jonathan and Mina were collecting it since so much recipe collecting happens in his journals. And I think I'm onto something here.
Jonathan Harker is just an oblivious neurodivergent baby, and Mina's like, you're cute, but you're dumb, so it's fine.
You're stupid. I like that in a man.
I mean, I'm sure she's... it wouldn't surprise me if she's thought it, but I'm sure she would never say it, because, like, we only meet Mina, like, on the last page of basically the chunk that we were supposed to read this week, because there is nothing for May 10th. We only get up to May 9th, and then it's tomorrow, basically. But yeah, but from what we've seen, like, Mina is just as obsessed with her fiancé as he is with her, and I think that's beautiful.
We love a wife man.
Yes.
More wife men, please.
Yep, like he's
Also,
just
Mina
like-
is clearly gay for Lucy.
Again, Dracula ruined a perfectly good polycule here, because, I mean, we're not at this point where we find out in the novel, but I'm readily aware that obviously you've got Mina and Jonathan, Mina and Lucy, like, of course I ship it, and of course Lucy's got her 3 boyfriends. It's like, you know what? In a modern adaptation of this, I would love to see them just acknowledge, yeah, no, this is just one big polycule that gets fucked over by this vampire asshole.
At least they get a kid out of it in the end.
Yeah, they do get a kid out of it at the end, yes. Yeah, if there's one thing that would not make it through the adaptation process of modernizing this, it's just how oblivious Jonathan is, because unless he is somehow never engaged in any kind of vampire media, ever at all, there's no way he wouldn't immediately think, oh my god, I'm in a vampire's castle.
Or he's just a sweet little neurodivergent dum-dum.
Yep.
I mean, yeah.
Who's only been a solicitor for 3 months because he was an assistant before that. He's like,
Yeah.
No, he just got the results. He was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, he has just gotten started.
He hasn't even been a solicitor in 3 months. He's literally like, oh yeah, I'm not an assistant. That's me.
It's like, oh, that's right. I am no longer just learning here. I actually have this job now.
I'm an adult, but like an adult. I need a bigger
I don't
adult,
like
please.
this.
And I mean,
I need an adultier adult, please.
I mean, unfortunately, he does have one, but unfortunately, that one is Dracula.
Ugh.
Yeah, we can't trust that man.
No. So, coming from somebody whose experience with Dracula was so limited, what did you think of the portrayal of him so far, Callie?
Of Dracula? Oh my god. This man. He's trying too hard.
Yes.
Sir, calm down. Calm down, you're being weird.
And it's so clearly that he's the one doing all the servants' work in the castle because there are no other humans there. It's like he's running a bed and breakfast out of there, and he's the only employee.
Which, it's almost admirable because it's rare that noblemen would do such a thing.
Yeah, got some people from the Vampire Diaries who could learn a lesson or two from that one, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh, you mean the one character on the Vampire Diaries who is at least actually a count, getting back to our roots here?
Motherfucker.
But it probably...
No, that motherfucker can die in the bottom of the ocean, which he does, but that's not the point. Shit, I can't say that. You gotta cut it. Sam can't hear it.
Oh, I mean, I'll let Sam know that there's some spoilers here.
Sam can't know.
Oh yeah, your podcast. Let's just say you're inducting Sam.
Yes, we are. We're expanding it so that we could drag other newbies into it. So Sam, it's not all on Sam, but yes.
You know, look, that little shithead blonde count with pretty blue eyes.
In fairness, it's far away enough that I'm sure Sam will forget even if they do listen.
But by the way, this is gonna be my rant of the day. The Gulf of Mexico is not an ocean, Julie Black.
Yes, we know. But one of the things in the Dracula Daily book is that they did include fan art in it because this whole phenomenon did kind of create a bit of a Dracula fandom that was actually based on the book, which I think is neat. But,
That is neat.
Nice.
And there's some goofy little cartoony images of Dracula going back and forth to make sure that all the service is taken care of, because, yeah, there are no humans left. He's probably eaten them all.
Sad little man is lonely. And he's also probably gay. Like, he's just like, you're pretty. You're staying here forever.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of queer subtext you can read into Dracula, absolutely. Like, I know there's speculation that this was at least partially inspired by Oscar Wilde.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which, that's fucking tragic if so.
I don't like that.
Sad,
I don't like it.
right?
It makes sense, but it's sad.
Also, I kind of hope it's not that, because this feels kind of slanderous to Oscar Wilde, if so.
Yeah.
Because, no.
I'm gonna bring your podcast in, your other favorite podcast in, Jazz, with the idea that, like, the bubonic plague dirt, that's cool.
Yes, it is. I don't think they've brought it up yet. I'm not even sure if that's actually in this book. yet.
It's not. They mentioned that it's in the thingy majig.
Yes. So Callie is referring to the "Are You Afraid of the Dark Universe" podcast. This is based. Shami knows about it, but for the listeners who don't, if you like this podcast, definitely give it a listen, because it basically is them pitching a way to allow the Dark Universe to go on past the Mummy, because as we all know, the Mummy did not do very well, or the 2017 Mummy, I should say. Obviously, the 1991 Mummy that was just re-released for the 25th anniversary. Dear God, we're all old. That one is, of course, a classic.
No, I was talking about the I've never heard it said. That thingy.
Nosferatu? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. Yes, I think that was in Nosferatu. Yes.
That's what they said.
Which has a remake coming out this Christmas. Shame.
But Mads Mikkelsen is Dracula. I'll never stop picturing it.
I'm pretty sure it's Mikkelsen, but yes, he is. He does.
That tells you how obsessed I am.
Oh yeah, very much so. But yes, they did fan cast him as Dracula, which is an excellent choice. Obviously, there have been many a great actor playing Dracula, but very few of them really kind of gave off the vibes that he does here, where he's just like this weird, twitchy man who is not doing a very good job at hiding that he is, in fact, this weird, not quite human man.
He yeets a mirror out the window because no!
It's like, no,
vanity!
No. I mean...
You mustn't be vain, Jonathan Harker.
No matter
no
how
vanity.
Pretty you are. No matter how pretty you are.
You must not be vain, Jonathan Harker.
Yes, it's got nothing to do with the fact that the man has no reflection. No.
That'd be
and
weird.
we do see Jonathan notices that there is no reflection, but he just passes up as, that's odd.
That's weird.
That's a lot of Jonathan's reactions to things in this book so far. It's only very recently that he's like, oh, I'm in trouble. Oh, I'm actually trapped in this here castle.
And I was like, Jonathan, you came in a front door, babes. Did you consider looking for it?
And also just the fact that, it's not as if every villager you ran into was warning you not to go.
You sweet little dum-dum.
Again, in a postmodern horror world, that would not work for anything except comedy, which I would not be against, of course. Horror comedy.
Or a Malcolm Bright type, who's like, got no self-preservation. Malcolm Bright, who's like, do you promise?
God. You know what? Tom Paine would actually make a very good Jonathan Harker. Yeah. Or at least he would have been
Promise?
old for it.
Look, if Andrew Keenan Bulger can play him and Crutchy within the last 5 years, I think we're fine.
You got a point there.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Or rather, my Harker Talk.
Actually, I have some bad news for you, Callie.
Uh-oh.
That was in the last 8 years.
Whatever.
When
did Dracula Terror Doohickey Majigger happen? That was a couple year. I thought it was 2 years ago.
Nope, that was last year.
But it premiered like 2 years ago.
Well, yes, but all
that
the same, the news...
Okay, so then that's 5.
No, my point is the Newsies thing happened 8 years ago.
The pro shoot?
Yeah, that wasn't it like 2016?
No.
Was it? When was it then?
The pro shoot was like 2018 or something. It was...
Okay, that's still 6 years though.
That's closer to 5.
It is closer to 5, okay. Okay, fine, I guess. Anyway, we're getting way off track. Wow. Us getting off track?
2017, we were both wrong.
Well, would you look at that? I was closer, technically.
We were both closer.
Anyway, point is, that was like 7 years ago, so it's a bit off. But anyway, I still would not be mad at Tom Paine as Jonathan Harker. That sounds awesome. And yeah, he's just so oblivious for a good chunk of it, in spite of the fact that, again, everybody and their mother is warning him not to go there.
Literally everyone and their mother. There are grandmothers going, don't go!
There's even that one who puts a rosary over his neck and goes, for your mother's sake.
Which, honestly, more harbingers of doom and horror story should absolutely say that, because something about giving somebody something to protect them and saying, for your mother's sake, just kind of kicks ass.
Just like, and he just info dumps so much, and I love it. He's like, hang on, everyone shut up. I got something to say and it's really important. Everybody shut up, please.
Yes, because he's very polite still.
But he's got a lot to say, and it's very important, even though it's not actually very important at all.
And he talks a lot about trains, which he does share with Mina. But I do commend him for not assuming that China doesn't have trains. So that's a pretty low bar.
He actually self-corrected on that, which, you know what? Good for him, considering the fact he's a 19th century Englishman.
The bar is so low, it's below a tavern in Hades. Hades would be offended.
But yeah, no, he's just shiny and dumb and easy to trick.
He's pretty. He's not smart.
Technically, they never describe him physically, so, I mean, who knows what he looks like? He could look like Keanu Reeves. He could look like that dude from the 31 movie.
He could look like Tom Paine.
Whatever you want. That's the beauty of literature.
Now I'm gonna go create a fan cast after we're done here for the tumbles.
Honestly, you and Shami should absolutely either team up or compete. Up to you.
We'll team up.
Aw, nice.
But no, I love Jonathan Harker, and I just want to carry him over my shoulder and be like, stop being dumb. That's my job.
Yeah, I hate to break it to you, Callie. It does not get better.
No,
it never does with these types. I know these types. I am this type.
Oh, no.
We know, but hey!
Yeah. Wow, that's 2 John Mulaney references in like 2 minutes. That's crazy.
Wait, where was the first one?
He's shiny and dumb and easy to trick.
Oh, I forgot that was a John Mulaney bit.
Okay, so Callie, actually, we're going to take a leaf out of your book, even though your podcast is not premiered yet, so people don't know this bit yet. So consider this a preview. What do you predict is going to happen next?
Okay, the first thing I predict that will happen is Jonathan Harker is going to info dump more about shit nobody cares about.
Okay.
Number 2, Mina and Lucy will continue to be gay. Number 3, Dracula will continue to be gay.
Callie, I actually have a book to recommend you, since that is something that you keep noticing, which, again, a lot of people noticed, enough that one of my many ebooks is a collection of short stories about the Dracula story being very, very gay.
Number 4 is that Jonathan Harker will continue to be oblivious. And number 5, Jonathan Harker will continue to panic at the slightest bit of trouble.
Fair enough. Which, in fairness, considering the situation that we know he's in, I think is warranted.
I didn't say it wasn't warranted. Protect the small one.
Yep. Also, there is the language nerd in me had a very nitpicky thing to say, because at one point, Dracula calls Harker Jonathan, which he had never done before, but he's saying that it's like, no, that is not how, like, people address each other in, like, Eastern Europe. That's like East Asia. Wrong geography.
What are you doing?
I didn't even think
it
about it.
Reminds me so much of those, like, attempts at, like, language switching and for, like, bilingual characters.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's kind of fascinating to read, especially this part of the story, as, like, an allegory for, because it needs to be acknowledged that Dracula is at least partially a story of, oh no, scary foreign man is after our women. And, you know, it's fascinating how Dracula kind of goes from, it's like, no, I want to be among the English and fit in among them. I feel, and as somebody from a family of immigrants from 2 different countries, his bit about how it's like, oh, I'm not so good at English, and Jonathan's just like, no, you're actually quite good at English. What are you talking about? Is a mood.
Mm-hmm. English is just a weird language. All made up rules.
Yes, but on the other hand... Go ahead.
English mobbed a bunch of other languages in an alleyway, and it's a bunch of those languages stacked on top of each other in a trench coat.
It's also a Frankenstein of languages.
That is so true.
And that is an insult to Frankenstein's monster.
Oh, God. But Yeah, but then he'll basically go on about the glory days of his quote-unquote ancestor, but we all know better, of course.
Ugh.
And the thing is, like, before you can get too close to feeling kind of bad that his country is not doing quite as well as, say, England is, he's just like, yeah, no, the noble people should absolutely lord over the peasantry, because we are the heart of the nation, of course.
Which, oh my god, again...
Yeah.
Again, I was like, oh, hey, I wonder where Julie Plec got inspiration for this motherfucker.
Oh, please. You really think Julie Plec ever actually read Dracula?
France wasn't the only one that needed a revolution. Take down Dracula. Off with his
What's
head.
ironic is this character is French.
That is also true. Yes.
Ah.
But anyway, the book I was thinking of it's called Suffered from the Night, Queering Stoker's Dracula. So it's got a bunch of little short stories, such as, we haven't met Dracula's brides yet, but they're obsessing over Mina. Van Helsing and Dracula have met before. We haven't met Van Helsing in this novel yet.
No one in this novel is straight.
No.
Correct.
As they shouldn't be.
No straight characters. They're not allowed.
Particular thing I loved in one of the chapters. I keep forgetting which one it is, but it mentions cat's meat. Well, for those of you that don't know, it's not literal kitty kebabs, but it's in Victorian times there were these meat vendors going around and giving cats and dogs little kebabs, and
that is so much really better than what I initially thought it was.
Yes,
I was expecting some Sweeney Todd bullshit.
Nope.
Let's face it, Gothic literature is often sick and twisted like that.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on.
Also, we should bring that back. More kebabs for the good kitties and good doggos out there. Yeah, so I am quite enjoying this. If you'd like to join along with us, we are up to, like I said, May 9th. Tomorrow, by the time this pops up, we'll be up to May 11th, and we will be trying to do this every Friday. So we hope you'll join us for Dracula Weekly. Who has stuff to plug?
I'm Callie, and I am the host of the podcast Postcards from Mystic Falls, a podcast where residents of Mystic Falls drag newcomers into the Vampire Diaries coven. We'll be discussing all of the shows in the Vampire Diaries universe from the CW network, which included 2 spin-offs, the originals and legacies. The Vampire Diaries premiered in 2009, and it all ended when Legacy series finale aired in 2022. We plan to air our first episode on June 21st, after the convention taking place June 7th through the 9th in Covington, Georgia, where the Vampire Diaries was filmed. The convention, called June Wedding, is being hosted by Epic Events and Entertainment, and I will, of course, be at the wedding of the year. I'll be posting on all of our social media profiles, which you can find in the episode description. If you see me, come say hi, because it's Mystic Falls. Nothing bad ever happens here.
As for me, you can find me on the online news at Tumblr, where I post listicles and graphics and all your fancast requests.
And as always, you can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Favor Vieira. And you can follow Any Treetelling on Twitter at IER Podcast. We will also be doing updates regarding Dracula Weekly, of course, since this is all part of the same podcast family. Consider helping us reach the next chapter of our story, whether it's by spreading the links around, rating us and reviewing us on the podcatcher of your choice, or even donating to our Patreon, Ko-Fi, or the Support the Show link below. And with that all out of the way, let's close out this week's Dracula Weekly. I have just had a few hurried lines from Jonathan from Transylvania. He is well and will be returning in about a week. I am longing to hear all his news. It must be so nice to see strange countries. I wonder if Jonathan and I, shall ever see them together. There is the 10 o'clock bell ringing. Goodbye. Your loving Mina. Tell me all the news when you write. You have not told me anything for a long time. I hear rumors, and especially of a tall, handsome, curly-haired man.